In an endless journey to find answers to humanity's two biggest questions, scientists have now shifted their focus from distant stars to our own solar system. Those two big questions: where did we come from, and are we alone in this universe? These are the questions that have compelled human civilization to think since the very beginning. After decades of struggle, finally, National Aeronautics and Space Administration has launched the most ambitious mission ever in search of these questions. The Europa Clipper mission is its target. Europa is one of Jupiter's 4 largest Galilean moons. From the beginning, scientists have believed that beneath Europa's surface lies a vast ocean, where beyond all our sights there could be a completely different world, a world where life might be thriving. Europa has always been a part of scientists' imaginations where life is flourishing. In reality, Europa is located in a very special place among Jupiter and its other moons. Because of tidal forces, tidal pressure builds up inside Europa. Because of this, internal heat is generated in Europa, and due to this warmth, subsurface oceans exist beneath Europa's surface, where hydrothermal vents create perfect conditions for life to develop. From the Europa Clipper spacecraft, we will finally be able to study this frozen world in detail and also search for basic elements of life there, such as organic compounds. Bill Nye is a science advocate and chief executive officer of the Planetary Society. He once said that if we find life somewhere else or on another planet, it will completely change life on this planet. And that's exactly what the Europa Clipper mission is about. This is National Aeronautics and Space Administration's biggest interplanetary mission so far. This flagship project, built at a cost of about $5 billion United States dollars, was launched on October 14, 2024 by SpaceX's Falcon Heavy rocket. Once it reaches the Jupiter system by 2030, it will perform 49 flybys of Europa and will send us the most detailed images and observational data of Europa to date. This mission is not just about science, it's about the future of space exploration. It's about our place as humans in this infinite universe. We will find out whether we are alone in this solar system or if there is someone else out there. So what is it that makes Europa so special, and what can we expect from this mission? After all, why Europa? Europa is not just a moon. In fact, it is also a prime location selected by scientists to search for extraterrestrial life. This moon, which orbits Jupiter, completes one orbit every 3.5 Earth days. Because of the gas giant Jupiter and the large moons nearby, it experiences very strong tidal forces. These forces constantly stretch and compress this moon. Because of this, heat is generated in its interior. Scientists believe that this heat must be powering hydrothermal vents in Europa's oceans. And just like we see in Earth's oceans, the same could be happening beneath Europa's surface. Even without sunlight, life could be thriving there with the help of chemical energy and heat energy. It is estimated that the icy crust on Europa is about 24 kilometers thick. Even if there is a subsurface ocean on this moon, it would be 24 kilometers below its surface. The possibility of organic molecules being present in the water coming out of the geyser increases significantly because it is directly connected to the subsurface ocean beneath it. If organic compounds exist on Europa, even microbial life, then it would completely change our understanding of biology. Wherever there is water on Earth, life is inevitably found there. From scorching deserts to frozen glaciers. But does this definition of life also fit the hidden oceans of Europa or not? The Europa Clipper mission will search for those chemical signatures of life on Jupiter's moon that are spread up to 16 miles into space from its surface. Its instruments will also measure Europa's gravity and magnetic field so that the depth of Europa's subsurface oceans and many mysteries related to them can be uncovered by analyzing analyzing the molecules found in the plumes coming out of Europa's geysers, scientists will be able to determine whether the conditions necessary for life exist on this moon or not. This mission is not just to find out about the presence of oceans on Europa. Rather, it's about understanding how that ocean might interact with Europa's cold crust. After all, what other processes are going on in its warm core? During its 4-year mission, Clipper is going to provide us with the data that will give us evidence of Europa being habitable. Europa has liquid water, heat, and possible organic molecules. It presents a very intriguing possibility that life could exist beyond Earth, hidden beneath a thick layer of ice far from the sunlight. The Europa Clipper mission from idea to reality. The Europa Clipper mission is the result of decades of scientific advocacy and continuous efforts. In fact, scientists have been urging National Aeronautics and Space Administration to send a mission to explore Europa since the early 2000s. But like other ambitious missions, this idea also faced many challenges, especially due to budget-related obstacles. In 2015, science advocate Bill Nye got a chance to meet President Obama. Their meeting was scheduled to take place on Marine One on the occasion of Earth Day, but Bill Nye took advantage of the opportunity and advocated for the Europa mission, considering his collaboration in the Planetary Society and the efforts of other scientists. Approval was granted to execute this mission. However, this journey was not that easy. It was credited to their collaboration at the Planetary Society and the efforts of other scientists it will reach. After reaching its destination, it will perform 49 flybys of Europa. During each flyby, this spacecraft will get closer to Europa. This will allow it to capture high-resolution images of the moon and also take precise mapping and readings. The Europa Clipper mission is not the first mission to explore this icy moon of Jupiter. Before this, in the 1990s, the Galileo probe explored Europa, and that was when scientists first got indications that this moon is much more than just ice. There could be an ocean beneath its surface. The discovery made at that time became the basis for scientists' Europa Clipper mission. How will the Clipper mission search for life? To search for signs of life, the Europa Clipper mission is going to use state-of-the-art instruments. As soon as it performs a flyby of Europa, it will collect data on that moon's magnetic field and gravity. This will help determine the presence of an ocean hidden beneath its surface. Additionally, we can determine the depth of this hidden ocean. The most exciting part of this mission is that we will also be able to study Europa's massive geysers. The water coming out of these geysers shoots miles high into space. There might even be microbial life or organic compounds present in it. The Clipper mission will collect and analyze samples of this water and will look for the presence of amino acids in it. Amino acids are also called the building blocks of life. If the Clipper mission succeeds in this, it will be the first evidence of life beyond Earth. The spacecraft will also study how Europa's oceans interact with its upper surface, that is, the ice crust, and the lower surface, that is, the heated mantle. The Clipper mission will use radio waves to penetrate the ice and map the surface beneath it, just like how an X-ray machine scans our body. During its 4-year mission, it will orbit Jupiter a total of 80 times. Each time, it will give us new details about Jupiter and Europa, also about its geology and potential habitability. With the help of this data, scientists will be able to create a model of how Europa's oceans function and whether they can sustain life. By the year 2034, when this mission reaches its final stage, it will be intentionally crashed onto Jupiter's other moon, Ganymede. However, considering the mission's cost and the spacecraft's condition, this mission can also be extended. With each flyby, this Clipper mission will get us closer to finding the answer to that age-old question: are we alone in this universe? And with every discovery that comes from this, we'll begin to understand the worlds beyond Earth. The Europa Clipper mission is much more than just a scientific endeavor. It is a symbol of human curiosity and determination. For decades, scientists advocated for this mission and struggled to bring it from an idea into the real world. It is a mission of hope that we are definitely going to find something on Europa. Even though it has now embarked on a long journey to Jupiter, this one mission has kept the dreams of thousands of scientists alive. If Clipper succeeds, it will mark the beginning of a new era in space exploration. Preparations will also begin to send missions to other such worlds in our solar system and beyond. And even if by mistake, if we even find a small sign of life, it will change human history forever. This search has just begun, but this mission is going to change the meaning of space exploration. Jupiter is a major planet in our solar system. It's the largest in terms of mass and size, but its influence can be seen throughout our entire solar system. If we talk about Earth, this planet acts like a shield for our planet. Any object coming from outside has to pass through Jupiter's intense gravitational field. They protect Earth and human civilization. We may never be able to count how many times Jupiter, the giant planet of the solar system, has saved us. But humans have always been amazed by this planet when looking at the sky. From Galileo observing Jupiter to today, we have certainly learned a lot about this planet. From a faint dot, we have peered inside Jupiter. During the Voyager mission, Jupiter was studied from very close, but that's not enough to truly know and understand this fascinating planet. Dedicated missions have already been planned to study Pluto and Saturn. So how could Jupiter escape the eyes of scientists? How much do we really know about Jupiter, the one that saves us and this Earth from catastrophic disasters? Almost nothing. Jupiter maintains the solar system's balance. Our civilization not knowing about it could be dangerous for us. After all, what role does Jupiter play in our solar system? Is it more important than we think? What is happening inside it? Is there life on its moons? There are many such questions that still force us to look at Jupiter with a sense of wonder. To answer these questions, the European Space Agency launched Jupiter 1 AC. A mission called Moon Explorer, or Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, was launched on April 14, 2023 from French Guiana. This remarkable mission and its scientific goals will guide human civilization in a new direction. Our science will reach a whole new level. But today, in this video, we will not discuss this mission. However, there is another thing in this entire mission that I found very interesting. When I was reading about this mission, I came across this timeline. This is the mission, and it will fly by Earth again in September 2026. After that, it will go into a large elliptical orbit. After about 2.5 years, on January 18, 2029, it will pass close to Earth again, but this time it will leave Earth's orbit as it passes by. By July 2031, it will begin studying the rest of Jupiter's systems. Now, just looking at this timeline feels strange because when its science phase is 3.5 years long, then the cruise phase of this mission, that is, the phase where the machinery reaches its destination in ideal conditions. Why is that 8 years long? Simply put, why is is this Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer mission taking 8 years to reach Jupiter, whereas earlier the Voyager mission reached Jupiter in less than 2 years. Besides, the New Horizons spacecraft didn't even take a year to reach Jupiter. So then, even with advanced technology, what is it about that mission that it's going to take so much time to reach Jupiter? That's the topic of our video today. In our solar system, when Earth and Jupiter are close to each other, the distance between them is about 600 million kilometers. But in these 5 months, JUICE has already traveled about 370 million kilometers. But if we look at it in terms of time, this mission hasn't even completed 5% of its cruise time yet. That's because the distance we've calculated between Earth and Jupiter is a straight line. But our spacecraft is following a particular trajectory. So the question arises here, why is it like this? Can't we go straight towards Jupiter? Why are we wasting so much time? So the answer to this depends on several things like the rocket's power, the weight of the spacecraft and the payloads, the amount of fuel and the geometry of the planet. All these things decide how we have to reach a specific planet. Look at the planet. Orbital mechanics is a field where anything can happen at any time. Like, even with a lot of fuel, Luna 25 couldn't succeed. But with less fuel, the Chandrayaan mission became a big success for India. Here, if you have a little patience and do a lot of planning, you'll get out of the box results, and in orbital mechanics, you really need to think out of the box. Because in space, everything, planets, moons, stars, galaxies, clusters, and larger structures is always in motion. When we launch a mission, it's not from a stationary Earth, but from the Earth that's orbiting the Sun at a speed of 30 kilometers per second. In such a situation, from one moving object to another moving object, when Earth and Jupiter are on opposite sides of each other, the distance between them can reach up to 968 million kilometers. But when these two planets come closer in their orbits, this distance comes down to about 600 million kilometers. But this position and this minimum distance only last for a few moments, and after that the distance starts increasing again. Another problem is that each planet is orbiting the Sun at its own different speed. Engineers must calculate the mission's entire trajectory with complete accuracy, because in this empty space, we will have to launch our mission in such a direction where right now it's not a planet, but as soon as the mission reaches the orbit of that planet, the planet will arrive there, moving at its own speed. Now imagine that you have a powerful rocket. You launched it on the trajectory with the shortest distance, and that too at the right time. Now, the problem here is that the missions we're taking as examples had to fly by Jupiter, not stop there. Now, if you've already made the mistake of going to Jupiter at this speed, then think about it. How will you stop at Jupiter without any brakes? So here comes the concept of orbital mechanics, which we call orbital energy. All the satellites orbiting the Earth have negative orbital energy, which means the Earth is pulling them towards itself. When this energy becomes more negative, the satellites start falling towards the Earth. And to do this, you can fire the thrusters in the opposite direction. This will waste a lot of fuel, and to carry that much fuel, you'll also have to waste a lot of fuel during the launch. And the second thing you can do is to reach there at a lower speed without wasting so much fuel. So one thing is clear from here, the weight of the spacecraft plays a crucial role in determining how much time it will take for the spacecraft to go anywhere. because more weight not only increases the cost of launching, but it also increases the cost of inserting into orbit after reaching the destination. A more powerful rocket is also needed to carry more weight. Now, by increasing the weight of the spacecraft by adding more to it, not only does the launch become difficult, but the complexities of the mission also increase even more. While launching from Earth, we have to provide the spacecraft with a specific minimum velocity, which we call escape velocity, so that the object can get out of Earth's gravitational pull. If we talk about the JUICE mission, it's the heaviest interplanetary mission so far, with a weight of more than 6,000 kilograms. To launch it, one of the most powerful rockets, the Ariane 5 heavy lift rocket, was used. But even this rocket wasn't powerful enough to send the JUICE spacecraft directly towards Jupiter. That's why gravity assist was used here. Now, we know that the closer an object is orbiting to Earth, the lower its orbital energy will be. And the farther an object is, the higher its orbital energy will be. In the same way, all the planets also revolve around the Sun. The planet Mercury is closest to the Sun, so its orbital energy will be the lowest among the planets, and Neptune's orbital energy will be the highest. And before entering the orbit of any planet, it's necessary to match its orbital energy. For Mercury, when the Bepi-Colombo mission was launched, at the time of launch, its orbital energy was equal to Earth's orbital energy. But to enter Mercury's orbit, it had to lose its energy so that it could match Mercury's orbital energy. And to lose that energy, Bepi-Colombo had to do flybys around other planets. The vice versa is also true. If we want to go to a bigger orbit, let's say Neptune or Pluto, obviously their orbital energy is higher. So to reach there, our spacecraft will need that energy, and we will have to gain, or you could say, steal that energy from planets like Earth, Mars, and Jupiter. Now you might have this question. In both cases, that is, one case when we are losing energy and the other when we need extra energy. So in both these cases, we are doing a flyby of the planets. So how can we gain or lose energy by doing a flyby of the planets? So the answer is relative motion. Yes, we can do this through the relative motion of the planets and the spacecraft. With gravity assist, we can speed up, slow down, and even change the direction of the spacecraft. If we fly by in the direction of the planet's orbit, the spacecraft gets an excellent boost. This increases the speed of the spacecraft, and if the spacecraft flies by from the opposite direction, its speed decreases. Here, the system's momentum is conserved according to Newton's third law, which means that if the spacecraft's speed increases, the planet's speed decreases to conserve momentum. But since the planet is a very massive object, these changes become insignificant. You can also understand this whole process like this. If a spacecraft is withdrawing energy from a system, obviously that system is a planet, then the planet's orbital energy decreases. If the spacecraft is losing energy, then the planet's energy increases, because according to Newton's third law, the total energy of this whole system should remain constant, but these changes are so insignificant that we ignore them. So the JUICE mission has been launched from Earth, so just after launch, the orbital energy that the JUICE spacecraft has may be a little less or a little more than Earth's orbital energy. To reach Jupiter, JUICE will need extra energy because Jupiter's orbit is bigger than Earth's and is farther away, so it will gain energy. By performing flybys of Earth, Moon, and Venus, it's important to ensure it also slows down so its energy matches. And this crucial thing is what is increasing the cruise time of this mission so much. After reaching Jupiter, it will do around 35 flybys of Jupiter and its moons. It will study Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto in depth, ending with a focus on Ganymede. It will become the first spacecraft to orbit a moon of another planet besides Earth's satellite, that is, the moon. The most crucial moment of this entire mission will be when the Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer spacecraft, while orbiting Ganymede, will slow down to as much as 1 kilometer per second. And then it will be inserted into Jupiter's orbit. Inserting a spacecraft into orbit around any celestial celestial body is extremely difficult. It has to perform a maneuver at a perfect speed, at a precise angle, at the right moment, and in the correct direction. Only then does the spacecraft enter orbit. If the maneuver is done too fast, too slow, or at the wrong time, it either crashes the spacecraft directly into the planet or the spacecraft gets lost forever in this infinite space. Then, too much fuel also affects the spacecraft's path. Can't correct it, that's why the right amount of motion or the right amount of energy matters much more. That's why this mission can reach Jupiter by 2021. About 65 million years ago, just like any other ordinary day, the sun rose on Earth, the darkness in the sky faded, and the sun came up. With the start of the day, all the animals and birds got busy with their daily activities. This was the era when our planet, this Earth, was ruled by the mighty creatures known as dinosaurs. These monstrous, magical creatures had the entire Earth under their control, but today was a day of doom for them. Unaware of their impending end, these animals were sitting under the open sky as usual when suddenly a bright flash appeared in the sky, blinding everyone for a moment. It was as if the sun and the earth were coming together. And in the very next moment, when the light faded, a scene of devastation appeared that is hard to even imagine. The moment this gigantic asteroid collided with the Earth, everything was destroyed. The shock waves generated by the terrifying collision shattered the surface of the Earth. The heat waves released after the collision scorched everything, and this catastrophe wiped out all life on Earth. The impact of the collision was so intense that 70% of living beings lost their lives at that very moment, and the rest of the surviving creatures. In the next few days, the remaining creatures perished due to the lack of oxygen and sunlight. In fact, the collision with that asteroid created huge clouds of dust and dirt, which mixed with the clouds and kept getting thicker. As a result, sunlight could not reach the Earth, and due to the lack of sunlight, the remaining plants and animals also perished. Anyway, let's move out of this painful story now. This happened a long time ago. Millions of years after this incident, everything returned to normal on Earth, and once again, life was born on Earth. But this time, a new form of life appeared, because this time, humans were born on Earth. And within just a few thousand years of their birth, they completely changed the game. Based on our sharp intelligence and developing understanding, we did things that were impossible for any other animal to do. And even today, we continue to make the impossible possible through our efforts and hard work. Well, one such impossible task was to deflect these asteroids that were becoming a disaster for Earth, so that we don't fall victim to these disasters again and humanity doesn't come to an end before its time. Scientists are fully confident that once again we could face these destructive asteroids, which can turn us to dust forever. And this has happened often. After a certain period of time, Earth will definitely face such a destructive asteroid which will try to come close to us and our planet with the intention of destroying us. In such a situation, do we have any way to stop it? Can we put a brake on this disaster? To find answers to these questions, National Aeronautics and Space Administration decided to carry out the Double Asteroid Redirection Test Mission. This is a mission aimed at asteroids heading towards Earth. But the real question is how this mission will work. How it will interfere with the trajectory of a massive asteroid and actually change its path. And finally, how likely it is to succeed. The mission began on November 24, 2021, when the American Space Agency, National Aeronautics and Space Administration launched a rocket from its Vandenberg Space Base in California. Aboard this rocket was the Double Asteroid Redirection Test Impactor probe, which was piercing through the clouds and heading towards space. This launch used SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket, which in just a few minutes With the help of its powerful thrusters, it lifted the probe from Earth's atmosphere into orbit, and then it set out on its journey into outer space. And if National Aeronautics and Space Administration succeeds in changing its trajectory, it will be considered a successful mission. After that, we will also become capable of protecting our planets from these dangers. Double Asteroid Redirection Test is a 17-meter-long impactor spacecraft. It has been specially designed in such a way that at the right moment, it will crash into the targeted asteroid at a high speed of 24,140 kilometers per hour. And when this collision happens, a bright flash of light will spread in space. This collision will create a strong shockwave, eventually changing the asteroid's velocity. Because of this, not only will its direction change, but there will also be changes in its condition. It is possible that after this collision, this asteroid may lose its path and wander aimlessly through open space forever. Now, for the time being, this mission is being carried out as an experiment. That's why it's difficult to say anything definite about the outcome right now. If the results turn out to be positive as scientists expect, then this entire process, it could become a weapon to protect human civilization and the planet Earth from future disasters. And why just Earth? From the moon to Mars, wherever humans plan to settle in the future, all those planets and moons can also be protected from these dangers. Developing any such technology would truly be a major contribution to the progress of science. According to National Aeronautics and Space Administration's planning, the entire program will take place between September and October. In this, a binary asteroid system located about 11 million kilometers away from Earth has been targeted. Apart from this collision for Earth's defense, this mission will also have several other important objectives, the most important of which is that we are able to understand the asteroid that we are going to target. I mean, apart from hitting in this mission, studying the asteroid will also be included, under which this probe will look for evidence of the presence of an atmosphere or a gaseous layer on that asteroid. It will deeply scan it to try to understand its composition and also learn about the physics of that binary asteroid system. One important objective of this mission will be, according to National Aeronautics and Space Administration, this asteroid system is located about 7 million miles away from us. In this system, a minor asteroid called Dimorphos is orbiting the major asteroid Didymos. Dimorphos, our target, is a unique satellite asteroid. It is orbiting a larger asteroid caught in the grip of its gravitational pull. And when our impactor crashes there, this small package will create a big explosion. That means the asteroid will lose its companion, causing both asteroids to separate and drift apart in space. In short, by breaking their bond, their trajectories can be diverged. The Didymos itself is not a significant threat to Earth, but the Dimorphos asteroid orbiting it has always been a potential danger to our planet. About 20 years ago from today, the scientific community was on edge when, in 2003, it came as close as just 3.7 million kilometers from Earth. And even today, scientists believe that one of these two asteroids could definitely reach us. And to prevent that possible disaster in the future, we have this mission, Double Asteroid Redirection Test. This effort will not only secure the future of Earth, but will also play an important role in preserving human history. For the first time in history, something made by humans will intentionally collide with an asteroid. This kinetic impact will help safeguard Earth from potential risks. This will be an effective strategy to prevent past disasters. Now we just have to wait a few more months until it reaches its target. And finally, when this event happens, a new wave of revolution will sweep through the entire scientific community. It was 1962. The Soviet Union's first attempts to go to Mars had failed badly. Because of the Marsnik project, the dream of reaching Mars remained just a dream. But the Soviet Union was not ready to give up. Just a few years later, they were ready again with their next big hope, Mars 1. The Mars 1 mission is launched with the hope that this spacecraft would capture and send back the first close-up images of that mysterious red planet to humanity, which would be a giant leap in the history of space exploration. Everything was going perfectly, hopes were soaring high, and then suddenly a terrifying silence falls. Halfway through its journey, Mars 1 disappeared. No warning, no distress signal. The scientists on Earth received nothing, just nothing. One moment the spacecraft was in contact with Earth, there was no sign of anything wrong. The spacecraft's health was perfectly fine. And then, the very next moment, it disappeared. As if it got lost somewhere in the emptiness of this endless universe. What exactly happened to Mars 1? Was it just a technical failure? A very basic piece of equipment which perhaps did not match the modern equipment installed on that spacecraft at the time? Or was there some mysterious force at work behind its disappearance? Some people believe that Mars 1 fell victim to such mysterious forces which perhaps did not want us to reach Mars. In this episode of the Curse of Mars series, we will delve deep into the mysterious disappearance of Mars 1 in space. We will also analyze the official explanation of technical failure and find out whether this failure was not supernatural but rather the result of human error or one of our own mistakes. Or, according to some theories, we will also explore the angle that claims there was a deep and mysterious force behind this failure. Did something really strange happen with Mars 1? Launch and journey of Mars 1. Mars 1 was launched on November 1, 1962. This mission was another major attempt by the Soviet Union to reach Mars, especially after the failure of the Marsnik mission. This spacecraft was equipped with several modern scientific instruments, including a camera system to take detailed images of the Martian surface. Mars 1 aimed to be the first successful interplanetary mission. In the beginning, everything was going very well. The launch was completely smooth, and the initial telemetry reports showed that all the spacecraft systems were working perfectly. All indications were that this mission would turn into a huge success. For several weeks, everything went according to plan. The spacecraft kept moving forward through the pitch-dark space. Meanwhile, on Earth, valuable scientific data was being received from the probe, but as the spacecraft kept going deeper into space, engineers and scientists started monitoring this spacecraft and the progress of this mission even more closely. Minor adjustments were made to its trajectory to keep it headed towards Mars. Apart from this, the entire mission was heading towards success. But then, on March 21, 1963, something happened that no one had ever imagined. March 1's communication suddenly weakened. At first, the signals were just getting weaker, but then they started cutting out intermittently. Mission control sprang into full action. They tried to establish a strong connection again, but only a few hours had passed. The struggle to save the spacecraft finally came to an end. Mission Control had completely lost contact with Mars 1. It had gone silent, lost somewhere in the vast expanse of this universe. For many people who had been working on this mission for years, it was a huge shock. After the initial failures of the Marsnik mission, Mars 1 was like a new hope for all of them. The spacecraft had already covered more than half the distance toward its destination. In such a situation, losing contact with it, and that too without any explanation, was quite surprising. For the Soviets, Mars 1 could have been a turning point, and humanity was about to witness a new milestone. But then, how did success slip away from the Soviet Union? What was the reason behind the sudden disappearance of Mars 1 after all? And that too when it was so close to its target. The Soviet Space Agency's official report gave a straightforward explanation. According to their analysis, the failure of Mars 1 happened due to a malfunction in the communication system, and that malfunction either occurred in the antenna or in the transmitter component. However, this spacecraft had a dual communication system. One was for short-range communication and the other for long-range. As this spacecraft was moving farther away from our Earth, it had to switch to the long-range system to maintain communication ahead. According to the official explanation from Prashan, as Mars 1 moved away from Earth without the ability to transmit signals, it was basically lost in space. The Soviets also suggested the possibility that a micrometeoroid might have hit the spacecraft, which could have caused the entire system to fail. These explanations were easy to understand. After all, the conditions in space are such that they spare no one. The technology of the 1960s, which was considered modern and cutting edge at that time, was not as robust and fail-proof as today's technology. Back in those days, equipment failure was a common thing, and then space missions were treated like a gamble, or you could say like a game of chance. If it succeeded, it was great, and if it failed, it was considered a loss. They would consider it a bet and start preparing for the next mission. No mission failure was studied in depth. Despite the technical reasoning, questions remained. Why did the malfunction happen at that exact moment when everything had been running smoothly for the past few months? Why was there no indication from anywhere that something seriously wrong was happening inside the spacecraft? What exactly happened before the final communication loss? And why was there never any trace of Mars 1 despite so many efforts? For many people, this official explanation was not able to satisfy their curiosity. They say that this official explanation is not enough to completely solve this mystery. Unexplained theories and speculations. Because there was no conclusive evidence to explain the disappearance of Mars, many other theories started to emerge. Some of these theories were quite mysterious and speculative. One theory is about the possibility of cosmic interference. There are many unknown forces in space, such as radiation belts, gravitational anomalies, and magnetic disturbances. Some theorists believe that Mars 1 must have faced such interference while passing through such a region. Because of this, its communication system must have started malfunctioning, and it's also possible that a massive burst of solar radiation coming from our sun destroyed the entire spacecraft, causing it to go out of our contact. Or maybe it passed through some gravitational field which changed its direction and forced it to wander alone in this unexplored space. Apart from this, there are some other strange theories as well, like the possibility of extraterrestrial interference. Did Mars 1 encounter some force in this space that is beyond our understanding? Although this idea is far from reality, it reflects the imagination of those people who believe that the red planet Mars is special and mysterious because of its unique features. Or it could be under the surveillance of some super intelligent species. Did Mars witness something that it shouldn't have seen, and that's why those powers deliberately made it disappear? These theories are completely speculative. But the sudden disappearance of Mars 1 in space forces us to look at the incident from a different perspective. Because there have been many technical failures in space missions before, but there have been very few missions that disappeared in space without any evidence like Mars 1. Even today, Mars 1 is one of the biggest unsolved mysteries from the early days of space exploration. Was it just an unfortunate technical failure, or was there some other mysterious reason behind it? Did the curse of Mars once again stop us from reaching Mars? The probe's sudden and mysterious disappearance after its final transmission. This mystery still hasn't been solved to this day. In the history of Mars missions, Mars 1 was one of those missions that ended in a very strange and mysterious way. Either they couldn't reach Mars, or even if they did, they couldn't succeed in their mission. The case of Mars 1 was completely different. Everything was fine for more than half the distance. But later, when the silence came, neither was any debris found, nor was there any story behind its disappearance. Often the questions for which we don't have answers trouble us the most. What are your thoughts about this mission? Was the curse of Mars really stopping us from reaching Mars? Do share your opinion with us in the comment section below. To watch the other episodes of this series, do check out our The Curse of Mars playlist. If you like the video, do like it and share it with your friends.